Hi everyone, how are you doing today? Alright, so briefly, I'm going to walk you through this particular design that I recently created, that I put up from the recent designs that I did, and I'm going to simply show you what was done to create this clean looking, functional and direct church flyer that you're seeing on your screen. Now, without wasting much time, let's jump right into what we have for today. Okay, so basically, first and first is I'm going to click at the edge and I'm going to just pull up on the artboard, right? And then next thing I'm going to do is to go to where I have all my elements, right? I'm going to first pull out the background, right? I'm going to pull this up into Photoshop, and then I'm simply going to take this and drag this up, just like so, while holding the shift so I can maintain the same proportion. Right, so I'm going to leave this like so. Alright, at least for now. Now, next thing I'm going to simply do is now basically what we're doing is we're crafting out the background, right? Because the meeting says avalanche of miracles, so we need something to depict, something miraculous that has happened, if that makes sense. Hence why this element is here and this element is here too as well. Alright, so now next thing I'm going to do is to bring up the next element, which is this one. Right click and drag and drop into Photoshop as well. I'm going to move this up while holding the shift key, and I'll leave this here, click on enter. So next thing I'm going to do is to mess around with the blend mode to see what works. I'm going to check overlay. Alright, this works, right? And then we have this for our background, right? Now, what I love to do is to group everything together, Control G, so that I don't get start looking for my layers all over the place. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do is to, of course, bring in the social media icons for my church, right? Alright, so we have this. I'll scale this up just like so. Alright, so now what I'm going to quickly do is to ensure that this logo right here is black, just like we have it here. So I'm simply going to right click to rasterize layer. I'll click on M on my keyboard and I'm going to just select this aspect. After I'm done, I'm going to hit V and I'm just going to move this a bit, and then what I'm going to do is to hit. Now I'm going to make sure that the color here is black. And next I'm going to do is to hit alternate and backspace to make that black then contribute to the select, and then we have this looking like this, right? Just like so. And so next I'm going to do is to pull up my text, hit T on my keyboard. So I'm going to simply type in avalanche, right? Miracles. Nothing really fancy, everything is basically just straightforward, right? Just like this, and I want to make sure I select everything to make the color black. Right, so that's been done. We're going to scale it up like so. Let's add up our pillars to our background. So I'm going to my background folder, and I'll go to where I have those stuff saved in. And then what I'm going to simply do is to rotate like this and place this here, just like so. And then I'm going to, let me unlock this, right? And I'm going to hit Ctrl J to duplicate, move this. And then I'm going to right click to flip to horizontal, just like so. And I'm going to do the same thing, move this and place this here like this. Alright, so for this particular social media handle right here, right, I'm going to do the same thing I did, hit M, and I'm going to select just this one, just the name, hit V, and then I can move this down. Right. Now this comes in handy when you are sent logo and their social media handle like this, right? It comes in handy to sort of tweak things out so that you don't start thinking of what to do, if that makes sense, right? So you can easily just tweak your way around the social media handle that was sent or the logo was sent. Most of the times clients could just send things in ways that you can't even understand, right? But I mean, as a designer, it is one of our duties to get around things, right? So, but for this particular church, this is my church, so I'm the one who handles everything when it comes to designs, right? So I mean, it just makes it easy to get things done, right? So that being said, I hope that helps someone out there, right, struggling with a client who sends logo like holy God knows how. Some even send you logo like, some can always send you their logo with the background, and I mean, you have to now figure out how to cut that out, and it's just a whole lot of stress. But I mean, it is what it is, right? So now that we've done all those, I can log this up back again so that we don't have it moving all over the place. Alright, so and then next thing I'm going to do is to bring up my rectangular tool. I'm going to ensure that the stroke is not selected, and I'm going to pick a color. Right, so I can simply just come here and pick this one and then click on OK, and then I'm just going to click and drag just like this, right? Something just like this. Hit V on my keyboard. Sorry, I'll move this up. Right, so hit V on my keyboard, and then what I'm simply going to do is to hold down Control and pick this particular guy right here and do the same thing for this one as well. Right, so you can actually tweak it however you want, wherever you want, it all depends on you. Right, so we have this. I hit enter, and then I'm going to pull up a text. So I'm going to change the width of that font. I'm going to come right here to semi-bold. Alright, this works. And then next thing I'm going to do is to ensure that my color here is white. Hit alternate and backspace to change it to white, just like that. So now for this particular guy, I'm going to double click on this layer. I want to add in a drop shadow just like this. So I'm going to tweak this, so I can bring this down, and then I can increase the size however I want it, but I don't want it to be too much, right? And then I can reduce the opacity. Alright, and then I can increase the size too as well, just like this. And then if you're satisfied with what you want, you can hit enter. And so what I'm going to do is to select this as well, and then I'm going to pick everything and move it to the top, just like we have here. Alright, so that being done, now next thing I'm going to do is to obviously add up the other details, right? Of which I mean by now, I feel like a lot of us do know how to do that, so I'm not going to bore you with all those details. Alright, so here we are, right, with the details. Alright, so I'm going to pick everything, and I'm going to move this down here a bit, right, just like we have in the design. And of course, when you're designing, right, always do it to pay attention to the design principles, which are things like alignment, things like hierarchy, things like contrast, and all of that, right? Very, very important, so that you can have something that is pleasing to the eye, if that makes sense, right? So that you don't get to have your work all over the place. It can just be unprofessional sometimes, if you get what I mean.
So basically, right,
So
next thing to do is to add up this base like what you see here.
What I'm trying to do.
So I'm going to just simply just pick the base from the previous artboard. I'm going to put down Control to pick both layers. I want to put down alternate to pick it, drag to the other artboard. After this has been done, let me just show you what I did. So I'm just going to undo what I did previously. Right, so this is a background downloaded from Pinterest, right? And the other layer is just a normal rectangle that you can create on Photoshop. Now what I simply did, I'm going to show you right now, is to basically, let me turn this on, hit down alternate, right? And then I'm going to click in between the two layers so that I can clip it to the rectangle, just like you have here, and just like that, that is done and off the way. Alright, so moving on. So I'm simply going to bring this this image that we have currently, and I'm going to just simply drag this to the side, right? And then I'm going to hit on enter. Then I'm going to move this layer so that it can be behind the footer that we just created, right? Just like so. And then I'm going to pick all these elements. I'm going to move them quite a bit so that I can have space and it can be visible as well, right? And then for this other one, I'm going to reduce it. I feel like it's too big. Alright, this is good. So of course, like I mentioned, always pay attention to alignment. Basically your design principles. Definitely design, if you understand what I'm trying to say, right? The next thing I'm going to do is simply just pull up the picture. I'm just going to pick it up from this artboard. I'm going to hit Ctrl J to duplicate, and I'm going to just click and drag into the new artboard that we're currently working on, just like that. And I'm going to adjust this a bit, and then we have that. So next thing we're going to do or to work on is to add up the flare. Right, so I'm going to show you how that is done from scratch for those who doesn't know how to add up flare on Photoshop, right? So I'm just going to go over that one more time. But before we get to that, let me pick the name, right? So I'm going to hit alternate, and then I'm going to just click and drag to the other artboard like so, and hit enter to reveal it on the artboard. Alright, so talking about the flare, right? Let's get right into that. Now basically I'm going to look for one flare, right, from the previous artboard. I'm going to copy that, right, and I'm going to move it to the new artboard we're currently working on. So I'm just going to click on any place and Ctrl V to paste, right, and I'm going to move this up so that we can see what we're doing. Alright, just like that. So I'm going to first of all unlock this, and then I'm going to reverse everything that was done. So basically when you download the flare, this is how it comes from any place in the internet. Right, some of them come as transparent background, but I mean most times you get to see it like this, right? So what you're going to do is to go to the blend mode and on it to screen, so you can have this nice looking lights on the design. So I'm going to move it there. I'm also going to just duplicate, Ctrl J, and then I'm going to move it somewhere here as well. Now I'm going to take it to be behind my pastor's face, so I don't want it on his face, right? So I'm going to place it there, and I'm going to Ctrl J again, right, so that I can add up the flare close to the man standing on the mountain, right? So of course you can also reduce the flare if you like too much. I'm just going to reduce this. Just like so, right? And then on the Avalanche Miracle there are two flares there, so I'm going to pick one, and then I'm going to move it to my left hand side, so adding a little bit of light there to it as well. And just like that, you know, and if you notice the flare is showing on my logo. So I'm going to look for where my logo is. I'm simply going to click and drag the logo to the top so that I can sit on top of all the flares, right? If that makes sense. So I mean, that's pretty much it. Nothing too fancy, but just like that, I've been able to create a very stunning functional church flyer, right? Now, if you found this useful, do it to leave a like, do it to share to your friends and loved ones. Also do it to comment and subscribe. It actually does help the channel to grow. All right. And also, I'm going to be having a free Photoshop class where I'm going to be focusing on concepting church design. And basically, I'm going to be walking you through how to get a proper church design out there. For it could be your church, it could be clients that you work with, right? Something that the eye will meet, and at first glance they're actually going to get the message and they're going to go, oh, who did this particular design? You get that kind of a feeling. That's what you're going to get. So scan the QR code, check the link in the description, and then I'm going to see you on the inside. Bye for now. Cheers.